Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Yo, shout out to all of you people on YouTube. Subscriber numbers are up over 4,000, continuing to go up. I appreciate all of you guys that have come along for the ride with me. I say guys, and when I say guys, I mean it in the universal sense. So guys and girls, ladies, ladies who love to talk sports, ladies who love to talk football, ladies who love track and field. Definitely make sure you check it out. I'm feeding y'all a lot of shorts on track and field championships as they come along. So make sure that you hang out with me there. But I want to talk football today. I heard someone talking. I shouldn't say heard. That was the wrong word. You notice that we use heard or talk when we really mean like read or tweet. You know, like we're not really talking about actually speaking to people because a lot of the communication now is coming through social media. So I was reading a tweet because that's more accurate. I was reading a tweet that asks, who is RB1 in college football? And I stopped to think because I was starting to think about who I believed RB1 to be. And then I went, yo, why does it matter? Like, why should I care about who RB1 is? Like, clearly, the NFL doesn't care about who RB1 is, right? Because they're not going to pay any running backs anyway. So if the NFL is not going to pay running backs, right? If the NFL is not going to pay the running backs, when the running backs have clearly performed, we're not talking about guys who marginally performed. We're not talking about guys who, you know, the replacement for him is just as good. It's going to be a similar outcome. No, we're talking about the tip of the spear. Like, we have quarterbacks getting paid, and I know, please don't hit me with you don't understand positional value. That's the dumbest thing ever. Of course, I understand that quarterback is more important than running back. But that doesn't mean that because quarterback is more important, you should just pay every quarterback, right? An example of it being down with Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, they just announced that Baker Mayfield was going to be their starting quarterback. This is the same Baker Mayfield who was bad with the Browns outside of that one season when everything kind of like aligned for him. They've given him all the weapons. He couldn't use them. Then he went down to Carolina. They gave him another opportunity. He wasn't great. Then he went over to the Rams, had like a game where he played well, and then he was right back to him again. And then got another opportunity in Tampa Bay, and now he's going to be the starter. Meanwhile, you know, people are like, oh, well, he's a starter. And I'm like, okay, but he's not a starter. Like, he's not a guy you should invest in. And the Bucs aren't invested in him. Let's be real about what the Bucs are doing. The Bucs are tanking. But like, you see that, and you see how many opportunities these quarterbacks get, and you're like, man, why? Once you know they're not good, why not just go get another one? Why not just go try out another one? The same way that you do for running backs, right? The same way that you just throw away the running back, why don't you just throw away the quarterback? It's not like you invested more in the quarterback. Like, if you're not investing heavy, then why are you wasting extra time? Once it's over, it's over. See, with the running backs and the running back position, when it's over, it's over. And because when it's over, we don't have to worry about what's going on. It makes it easy for people to move on because they don't believe that the running back has the same value. I get it, right? I get it. But hear me out. You're not winning a Super Bowl with a middle-of-the-road quarterback. And if you're not winning a Super Bowl with a middle-of-the-road quarterback, then why are you investing in him? Why are you giving a middle of the road quarterback 35, 40? Hell, why are you giving a middle of the road quarterback $20 million a year? Right? I think that's crazy. I'm not investing in a middle of the road quarterback. If I have a middle of the road quarterback, I'm going back to the draft. Right? If I have a middle of the road quarterback, I'm going back to the draft, because now, without having to pay the first overall pick $70 million anymore, thanks, Matt Stafford, right? Without having to pay the first overall pick, Sam Bradford, without having to pay the first overall pick $70 million, it doesn't set my franchise back. It doesn't set my franchise back to just go and get a quarterback the next year. Remember, when Carolina was drafting, they drafted Jimmy Clausen, and then the next year went back in and drafted Cam Newton. When you know, right? Zach Wilson was a top pick. The Jets didn't have any problem mortgaging the entire future and going out and getting an old man, Aaron Rodgers. So we have that dynamic. We know that exists. We know that dynamic exists. So what are we doing? But with running backs, we say, oh, the running backs devalue. We don't need a quality running back. So then why are we talking about running back one? Why are we discussing RB1 in college if you're telling us that running back's not important, right? If they're just like easily changeable and you can get a 3rd round running back and a 5th round running back and a 7th round running back, and they can give you the same production, then why are we talking about them? See, I don't think sometimes when people decide to run with narratives, they understand what the ramifications of those narratives will be. And the ramification of devaluing the running back, hey, RB1 no longer matters. When that type of stuff happens, guess what? We go, then why should we care? Why should we care? Well, guess what? RB1 matters because people need something to talk about. They need storylines, right? They need people to click. They need people to debate, because debate is clicks, and clicks get your views, and views have the numbers going up, and it's all about the numbers. I get it, right? But let's not sit back and act as if this is somehow like providence. People said, oh, well, I'm just not going to take running backs in the 1st round. I don't believe you should. Then they turned around and said, look at all the valuable running backs in the 2nd and 3rd round. Well, if you're not going to take a running back in the 1st round, if you're not going to take as many running backs in the 1st round, when you get Nick Chubb in after the 1st round, you can't say, oh my God, look at the steal that we got in Nick Chubb. Because Nick Chubb should have been a 1st round draft pick. You can't say, oh, well, Saquon Barkley wasn't worth taking in the 1st round because look at Josh Allen. Oh, the Giants could have had Josh Allen when nobody was thinking about drafting Josh Allen that high. When Josh Allen should have probably not even been a 1st round quarterback. Josh Allen was a developmental quarterback that they took a chance on, that they took a risk on. And in year 1, it looked bad. And in year 2, for half of the year, it looked bad. And then he got it clicking, had one phenomenal season. And then in year 3 had already started showing the regression. In year 4 had already started showing a regression to the mean. If we want to be honest about Josh Allen, because that seems to be the poster child on why you take a risk on a talented athletic quarterback, right? If we're looking at what Josh Allen was, right? Not good. He wasn't good. Then he was not good for half of the year, good for the second half. Then he was great. Year 3 was fantastic. Then year 4, he started throwing a bunch of interceptions again. Like that's Josh Allen. That's who he's going to be. That's who he is. Right? And so we understand these things. We don't have to make it more than what it is, except when you talk about Saquon Barkley, you go, oh, Saquon Barkley wasn't worth the pick. Well, let's see. His first year in the league was one of the best years in the history of running backs. right? He followed up his second year with no weapons around him, with no quarterback, with a suspect offensive line, still had over 1,000 yards and about 600 receiving yards, I think, somewhere in there. His third season, he got hurt. His fourth season, while dealing with coming back from the injury, had a down season. His fifth season, he was right back to being one of the top 5 running backs in the league. The regression to the mean for him is to be one of the best backs in the league. How is that devalued? Oh, well, he's going to be 26, and at 26, they fall off, and at 26, they don't. Listen to yourselves, and then you'll come on us in the next segment and go, who's the best running back in college? While they were devaluing running backs, they were debating who the best running back was. Somebody tell me how that makes sense. While you're devaluing a position, you're arguing about who's the best at the position. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't ring as intelligent to me. Because what I think about when I hear that is, oh, well, you just want us to talk about something. You just want us to argue about something. You just want us to get excited about something, have something to click on so that you can make more money. The content game is an interesting game, right? Because the content game says, hey, if I'm a football content creator and there's no football going on, I still need to be able to come up with things to talk about. So if I don't actually know real legitimate football, then it might be difficult for me to to talk. It might be difficult for me to make content if I don't really know football. If I don't really know football, what can I do? I need to have things people can argue about. I need to make lists. I need to say who's the best, because who's the best is always the easiest argument to make. Who's the best is always the easiest thing to get people talking about in the barbershop, to get people discussing by the water cooler, to get people blogging about, to get people talking about on social media. Who's the best? If you want to get clicks, go to a list that's popular, put a bunch of names on them, then rank them in an order and let people argue about your rankings. Right? That's the number one thing to do. Get a list, rank them, let people argue about it. And when you do that, you're going to get results, right? You're going to get results. But that's just because you don't know anything about sports. Because if you did, you wouldn't debate like that. If you did, you would have other things to talk about. So don't keep hitting me with the who's running back one, who's RB1, who cares? You're going to hype everybody up, right? And then when you get to the draft, you're going to crash everybody down. This year, we had 2 running backs going the first round. Leading up to the draft, everybody was saying, oh, you probably shouldn't take either one of these running backs in the first round. But during the season, the argument was, who's the best running back coming out? Who's going to be RB1 in the NFL? And now that that's gone, we're back to the same cycle again. Hey, man, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. You're not going to tell me this doesn't matter and then all year try to promote that it matters. We got to be better. We got to do better. We got to learn our craft. We got to talk better so that we can bring people stuff that really matters. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. You do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, whatever you do. Keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, peace.